She's just a girl and she's on fire.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I know I've been gone for some time, but I'm actually going to tell y'all why, which is the title of this video, which is why I was so busy and which is why I was not filming for so much, because it has been a very busy week and I am here to tell y'all all about it. So I've always wanted to be a lifeguard. I know a lot of people but like, I always want to be a lifeguard because you see them and you think that would be a cool job. I would like to wear that bathing suit, wear the tube, and all this other stuff. But when you really go through the process, you might want to second guess. Not trying to discourage everybody, but it is a very intense process and test. But if you truly want the job, like I did. So I found out that they were doing lifeguard tryouts at my school. I don't go to school right now, but the school that I was going to, they were doing lifeguard tryouts, and so I decided to sign up online instead of through the school. So I signed up and I put all my information in there. It was a Tuesday and I was doing study club with some kids. After that, I got a call from one of the lifeguard girls, and she said that would I be fine to set up a tryout for that Friday? So I was like, sure. I was thinking in my head, okay, it's just a swim tryout. They just want to see if I can, swim, which I could, but I haven't, practiced swimming because it's not summer yet. So I was like, sure, I'll sign up for this Friday. And she's like, okay, well, just remember to bring a bathing suit and bring a towel, and that was about it. So the tryouts were held in another high school, not my high school, but it was another high school. And when I got there, I didn't know anybody. I knew a few people, but we weren't really friends. So before that date though, I did call my friend Alyssa that had already done her swim tryouts, and I was asking her, what are the tryouts, like what do you have to do? And she's like, okay, I'm gonna call you and I'm gonna explain everything. So she calls me and she was like, okay, so the first test is you have to swim back and forth in a pool 6 times. They're pretty long. And I was like, okay, back and forth. Me thinking that it was like a pool, like a regular pool, like 0 to 5 feet. No, this was 0 to 12 feet. The next test was upper test, which is when you have to swim to 8 feet. You have to go down at 8 feet. You have to come up with a 10 brown brick, lay on your back, swim backwards without your hands, just your feet, and you have the brick on your chest. It may seem like it's easy, and for some people it was. But when you're small like me, and you have extra weight on you, I'll get into details later. But, so the third test was treading water for 2 minutes. And treading water was treading water. So it rolls around Friday and I go and I'm a little nervous and really scared, so my mom prays for me. And I just fell in the bleachers, just waiting for everybody else to show up. Then when it rolls around the time to actually take the test, I was super nervous. You're gonna get in the pool. She was just bringing the test to us. You're gonna get in the pool and you're gonna swim back and forth 6 times, total 12 touches. So I was like, okay. So everybody gets undressed. Everybody has a swimming suit or whatever. She calls out different lanes. I'm in lane 3. And so we all get in. The water wasn't that cold. It was a warmish cold, but it was still pretty cold. And they were like telling us to go slow at first because it is gonna be pretty hard. Not really my mindset back then. I was just like, okay, this is gonna be quick and easy. When it starts, I burst off with super energy and I am there, and about halfway I was like, it just hit me. I was like, what is this? It was like a mix of doubt and like, oh my gosh, I'm not gonna be able to do this. So I swam all the way to the other side, and on my way swimming back, I am exhausted, and it's only my first time going, and I had to do this 6 times, and there are other lifeguards keeping track and all that, and I was just like, this is impossible. You couldn't touch the wall and you couldn't stop. I felt like I was going to drown. I'm swimming back down to our feet to head back, and like I started doggy paddling at this point, and I think my mouth accidentally like goes under, and I come up like coughing, like I cannot breathe. It was terrible. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm fixing to die in front of everybody. And I felt like I was literally the only one that was really dying. Everybody else was done. It was only me and this other girl. I finished second to last. I finally make it though. Exhausted. Legs are completely done. Everybody's sitting on the bleachers like, you finally made it. So the next test starts, and they do a demonstration of what you have to do. You have to get in, swim to 8 feet, go down 8 feet, get a brick, that's 10 pounds, swim back up, go on your back, and then you have to quickly throw it out once you get to 1 feet, and then get out. This test is timed though, so you only have about a minute and something to do it. It was a long time, but it didn't feel like it. So I went down there and I was like, okay, that seems pretty easy. I swam down to 8 feet. I could do that. I swam down. I know how to get things off of the water. That wasn't the hard part to me. The hard part to me was coming back up. All the water just rushing over my face, and I couldn't get a breath in. My legs are super tired. Water is rushing over my face. I don't have time to breathe. I'm trying my hardest to keep my head above water so I can be able to finish, but it wasn't working. Plus the 10 pounds were also weighing me down so much that I feel like I was literally dying. I gave up and I started to stand, which you couldn't touch your feet on the bottom, but I did because I couldn't take it anymore. And I was like, I can't. So I get out and I have another chance, but I was letting other people go. And then it came down to me and this other girl. Me and her both did it 3 times because she couldn't get down to the brick. I could, I just couldn't make it back with the brick. So, second time rolls around. I swim to 8 feet, I go down, and I go back up. This time, I've almost made it, but I literally stopped. So this is the 8 feet. This is me literally swimming to 8 feet. I go down and get it. This is where like the 1 feet is, like where you get out and all that. And so I swam and I stop literally right here, and I give up. And I was so close, but I just give up. And everyone was like, oh, you're so close and all that. To me, it did not feel like I was that close. It felt like I still had like a mile to go. So my third time comes around, and I was like, okay, first of all, I have to pass all these tests if I ever wanted to be a lifeguard. I have to pass them. And I went for my third time. I was like, did a little quick breath, and I went, I got it, and immediately when I came up, I was like, I can't do this, but I go anyways. So I'm swimming. It was at this point, the point where I really wanted to give up. I super wanted to give up because at this point I just couldn't breathe. I couldn't do anything. I felt like I was just drowning basically, but sinking really. And I was like, in my head, I started talking to myself, and I was just like, you have to pass this. Okay, I can hold my breath for 5 minutes longer. It's fine. And I go, and I finally make it, and they they usually tell you to get out because your ears are underwater. You can't really hear that well anyway. So they would tell you, get out, get out, get out. Throw the brick, throw me out. I'm getting out, literally coughing up water. So as soon as I get out, we start the third test. My legs are tired. Everything about my whole body is tired. I can barely even catch a breath. But we're already going to the deep end to do the treading for 2 minutes. I was like, okay, sure. So we all get in as a group because it's better as a big group. And we tread water for 2 minutes, but you have to just kick with your legs, because usually when you tread water, you're like this. But with this test, you got to have your arms like this, under your arms, and just kicking with your legs. So it's a lot harder because you're really weighing your body up here, and it's really hard for your legs to kick, especially if you just got out from coughing up a lot of water. So, but to me, that test was the easiest because I leaned my head back and I felt like I was swimming backwards, which is my favorite thing to do. I love swimming backwards. But I just lifted my head like that and like this, and I was like, this test just got really easy. So I was sitting there training for 2 minutes, and then one of the guy lifeguards are like, okay, you're done. So everybody starts getting out, except for me. I'm still treading water while everybody else is getting out, and I feel movement in the water, not like kicking of legs anymore, more of like, you know, swimming towards to get out. And I look up and I'm like, what? And he's like, you can stop treading water now. And I'm like, oh, didn't hear you, because my ears were under. After those 3 tests were done, it was a pretty long day. They give us these tests, these packets that I will show y'all right now. In order to make it to the next class, we had to finish these tests. So they gave us this Lifeguard study guide, and they told us to do it all. And then they gave us this, and then they gave us this, and it basically is another link test that we had to finish. One of the links were 7 hours long, so we had to start that pretty quickly because the next class was coming up pretty soon. And she said if you failed it, then you're gonna have to wait another 24 hours if you failed it the second time, because you could take it 2 times, but if you failed it the second time, you're gonna have to wait a whole other 24 hours just to take it again. So I was like, okay, let me start this now. I didn't. I started the next day. But it's okay. I was super tired that whole day, and I was like, there's no way I'm gonna start it. And it had a while before I can even go to the class anyways. It was videos you had to watch, and then after all those videos, you take a big test after that. And like I said, all of those videos added up to 7 hours. So I had to watch 7 hours of video test questions with what I learned all in those 7 hours. I go through the whole thing and I passed, but the highest you had to get was an 80 or above. So I passed with a 70, but I didn't. So I retake it again and I got a 75. Still, I passed, but I didn't pass for the actual test because it has to be 80 or above. So I was like, great, now I have to wait a whole 24 hours. Turns out I didn't have to wait 24 hours. I literally just retook it right then. I don't know how it let me do that, but it did. And I got an 80 on it. So I'm like, yes, I can finally go to the CPR class. So when the CPR class comes around, it's at where I would be working at, Pirates Bay. So when I got there, they said to write your name on the case and also to write your name on the actual mask thing, your ventilation mask. We did our CPR class. In our case thing, so I just showed y'all, was our ventilation mask. It's not like this. It's really like, it's like this. So you would put it over the person's mouth, and then that's for an adult, and this is for a baby, infant, smaller one. Also came the gloves, alcohol, but instructions to basically how to do it. But we are learning how to do it, so I didn't really need that. It was pretty easy. Then we took a mini test that we all did together, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So the CPR class was one of them because you had to go to all if you wanted to pass. And I've already been to the CPR one. And the next classes were on a Saturday and Sunday. My best friend Alyssa would also be there that day, those days. She already has done her CPR class, and now it's going to be me and her on Saturday and Sunday with other people. I would take both of us to the place, and she would bring me back home. Is how we were doing it. Saturday and Sunday were the actual days that everything went down. So there's gonna be a 2-part series of this. This is the first part. I will tell y'all what happened Saturday and Sunday.